You're listening to Just Hit Play with your hosts, Peter and Nick Cabral. If you're tired of your stagnant, streamed music feed, then strap yourselves in for an intergenerational sonic journey through Peter and Nick's favorite songs.
Welcome to episode 107 of Just Hit Play. I'm your host, Peter. With me is my co-host, Nick. Nick, how you doing today, man?
Doing well. It's a nice morning so far over here, and I'm really excited because the biggest competition in European football is today. And, of course, my team, Liverpool, are playing in it.
Yeah. So how is the Europa League going?
Well, this is match day one.
Yeah.
But I'm just happy to for my club to take part in such a historic, prestigious competition. Yeah.
That is true, yeah. So we know the Europa League well over the last few years, so it's an interesting competition. You'll face some very, very weird teams, but that's part of football, I guess.
Maybe Man U will be back in the Europa League this year.
Oh,
Who knows?
We could be after a disastrous result yesterday. Injuries are killing us. All the people that we've signed in the off season aren't really playing, which is not helping at all.
Yeah, that's too bad.
Yeah. How's your week going? Everything else going all right?
Yeah, everything else is going well. No complaints here. I've got a concert lined up tonight with my friend Xander, who I go to a lot of shows with. We're seeing Janelle Monáe at Massey Hall.
Oh, I love Massey Hall. That'll be a great place to see a show.
Yeah. So very pumped. Looking forward to that.
Have you ever seen a show at Massey Hall?
I've seen a couple, yeah. I saw Beach House there most recently. Great
sounding venue. The sound is perfect at Massey Hall.
Yeah, and they just renovated it a bunch as well.
Okay.
So, yeah, it's really nice.
Well, let's see if the spirit of Prince will be in the audience with you tonight.
Hopefully.
Are you ready to get into some music?
I sure am.
All right. So we're gonna start off with me today. And we're going to listen to the Charlatans. Now, had you ever heard the Charlatans before?
No, never heard of them, nor anything by them.
Okay, so it's funny. The Charlatans had two different names. In England, they were called the Charlatans, but in North America, because in the 60s, there was a psychedelic band called the Charlatans, they couldn't use that name. So they had to go by the Charlatans UK. That was their name in North America.
All right, nice.
It happened a couple of times. There was another band called Bush that had to go by Bush X because there was already a band called Bush in Canada. So there was a Canadian band called Bush, so they couldn't use the name Bush. So they had to go with Bush X. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I guess they couldn't look up the band name to see if anyone else had taken it yet.
I guess not. It's it's one of those things that I guess you never really think about it. The band Blur, that was never their name. It was the record company that just gave them a list of names to choose for band names. And that was the name they just settled on.
I see.
Yeah. So it's weird how sometimes people come up with band names.
Yeah. Or if they're forced upon them.
Yep. So we're going to listen to Only One I Know by the Charlatans or the Charlatans UK. Darren, just hit play. Okay, so there's the Charlatans, the only one I know. Nick, I'm getting you to listen to specifically music from the 1990s just to show you what the music sounded like before sort of Oasis and Blur took over and the Oasis sound sort of became the sound. So we're listening to it's like a lot dancier. The drug culture, the Manchester scene is starting to happen. There's a lot of drugs and house music. So what did you think of The Only One I Know?
Yeah, loved it. I actually like it even more than EMF's Unbelievable last week.
Right.
I think this is a wonderful fantastic song, and it's had me in its clutches over the last week. I really, really can't lie.
Yeah.
Yeah, more of this, please. This is great from top to bottom, I think.
It it goes to show you how different the sound was coming out of England at this time. The house music sound, the Hacienda, which was a big nightclub in Manchester at the time, was really promoting this drug culture, and people were popping a lot of pills, going to raves, and this is the kind of music they were listening to.
Yeah, I mean, I could see why you'd want to pop a pill or two or take a tab and go to a rave where this is being played. Definitely fits that energy, that vibe, one could say.
Yeah.
But even just me listening to this like in my bedroom with headphones on, like I really enjoyed it and have a good time listening to it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a versatile song as well.
And it's such a great song. I love the organ. Now the band ripped off the organ part from a Deep Purple song called Hush, so it's very similar to that sound.
Okay.
But that's part and parcel of music. Everyone's ripping off everyone.
Now, did they rip it off or did they sample it?
No. It's completely lifted from Hush. Yeah.
Okay, so no credit was given.
Oh God, no
royalties were paid. Nothing like that.
No, and they list their influences as the Stranglers, which was like a late punk band from England, Joy Division, and the Doors. Now, especially the Doors, you can hear because of the synth sound, the organ sound. So that's very reminiscent of the Doors. For
sure. Yeah, I can definitely hear
that. Now, this band was a lot more popular in the UK. They had a lot of really big hit albums. Not so much in North America. This is probably their highest peaking song, and my favorite song by the Charlatans is this one. But definitely in England, they had a longer career until their guitar player, Rob Collins, was charged with armed robbery kind of accidentally.
Oh. How do you accidentally armed rob a place?
Well, a friend of his asked him for a ride to an off-license store, which I think an off-license store in England is a liquor store. And while he was waiting outside the liquor store, his friend robbed the liquor store, and he became, unknowingly to him, he became the getaway driver. God. So he did. So they dropped the charge down to assisting an offender after an offense. So he could have had a larger prison sentence, but he was in prison for 4 months.
Okay, so that's not terrible. That's not terrible.
No, it's weird, but not terrible.
4 months, that's like a vacation, really.
Yeah. And there was there was a gunshot. His friend robbed the liquor store with a gun and fired it. And he didn't know what was happening. And then he heard the gunshot, and his friend ran into the car, and he sped away because he didn't know what was happening. So he unwittingly was a getaway driver.
I mean, that's a fair response. I think I would also speed away in the car and want to just go very far away from the scene.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. When I kind of remember that when I was doing research for the song, I sort of remembered that story, and I read it again. I was like, oh, that's right. Yeah, he was done for armed robbery. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So, did that affect their career or the band or what?
Not really. It sort of halted their sort of progress for a little bit, but they continue to put out albums, and I think they break up and get back together every few years.
Okay, one of those bands.
Yeah. There's another band that was around this time called the Inspiral Carpets, and they just played Brisbane last week or 2 weeks ago. And I didn't even know they were in town, so I would have loved to have seen the Inspiral Carpets. But again, this was the early 90s sound, the early 90s UK sound.
Right. No, well, I think I like the early 90s UK sound a lot. And I also wanted to mention that last night when I was listening to this song, I think I had autoplay on or whatever, so it went to the song "One to Another" by the Charlatans.
Oh, yep, okay,
if you know that song. That one's also really good. I almost may have liked that song more than this one. it was fantastic as well. So
Yeah.
I will definitely be listening to that more.
Yeah, that like the Inspiral Carpets, Charlatans, the Stone Roses. There's some great sounds coming out. Like, and they all started like the late 80s, like 88, 89 is when the sort of Manchester scene started. Yeah, and it lasted probably till like 92, 93. And like, Oasis was sort of like, the culmination of all that. And like Noel Gallagher from Oasis, he was like the roadie for the Inspiral Carpets. So that's how Easter got his start in the music business. So like this, it all comes circular back to the Oasis sort of sound.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
I'm still not the biggest Oasis fan. Maybe you'll change that at some point by playing me a song by them. But I think I much prefer this sort of sound or music aesthetic of UK music over the Oasis stuff.
I think Oasis have two good albums, and the rest it just evolved. Like it de-evolved into like a drugs sort of mix of alcohol and drugs, and their songs just got progressively worse. And something that Noel Gallagher freely admits, that he was so coked up that like there were songs that had like hundreds and hundreds of layered guitar on it, because one of the problems with when you do coke is you lose your hearing a bit, and he couldn't hear like a lot of the music on the high end, so he kept layering and layering and layering the guitars, and they sort of disappeared up their own arses after Wonder after what's the story, Morning Glory, after that album. They sort of disappeared a little bit. Yeah.
Well, maybe, like I said, maybe you can put me on some good ones, because honestly,
yeah.
I only know what I've heard in passing by them, but I haven't really liked any of it.
Yeah, we'll find you a good Oasis song.
Cool.
Cool. All right, I'm excited to get into your songs. Let's talk about your song.
All right. So for this week, I got you to listen to Lil Yachty. Now, Lil Yachty did something really unexpected and cool earlier this year, when he released basically a psychedelic album. It's a fusion album of a little bit of rock, a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of pop, but really all tied together under that psychedelic vibe. So, Darren, why don't you just hit play on "We Saw the Sun" by Lil Yachty. Alright, so I almost wish I'd gotten you to listen to some of Lil Yachty's music earlier, like some of his songs not from this album, just so you could at least hear what a departure this is for him.
Yeah.
But having said that, what did you think? Do you like this stuff?
Absolutely, it's amazing. It's so dreamy and psychedelic. I've heard of Lil Yachty, and I was not expecting this, and I'd never heard his music before, and I could tell this was a departure from his original sound. It's so beautiful. It's lush and beautiful.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm really happy you think that, because it's just so impressive for me. This is by far Lil Yachty's first attempt at anything close to this sound. Yeah. Lil Yachty was one of the original SoundCloud rappers, quote unquote SoundCloud rappers. Yeah. Where in 2016, SoundCloud was becoming a big thing. It was this free platform where people could upload their own music really easily, and it was really hip hop centric as well. And so Lil Yachty was coming up around the same time as Lil Uzi Vert, 21 Savage, Playboi Carti a little bit, Kodak Black, a lot of those guys, and they were making what was deemed mumble rap That was the label put on them. Just really, really focusing on style over substance a lot, I think.
Right.
That was the whole idea of mumble rap, was it didn't matter what they were saying as long as they made it sound good.
Yeah.
And yeah, Lil Yachty's had a really interesting career progression since then, and it's led him to this album, which is pretty wild.
Yeah, no, it's so good. It's like this, I've talked about this in the past where I try to equate where I would listen to a song and where I think the song would sound the best. And this is, late night driving, on a dark road, dark highway, and your windows are down. And this just sort of overtakes the night kind of song.
That, or a really good just like headphones song, like at night in your room with a candle going and headphones on. It's really good for that as well.
It's so good. It's a lovely song. It's even a long song. Like it's 5.5 minutes if I remember correctly, and it doesn't feel it. Sure, and there's a lot of there's some weird stuff at the end. It's a weird song. It's a psychedelic song, so there's a lot of different dynamics in the song.
Yeah, he even sampled Bob Ross at the very end.
Yeah. That I started laughing when I saw that, or not when I saw that, when I heard that.
Yeah. I'm really, really glad you like this so much, and I think if anything, it helps that you maybe don't have any like real preconceived notions of Lil Yachty's music or what his sound has been like until this, because it really is very, very different. There was a period of time where I felt Lil Yachty just wasn't capable of making good music anymore. He was really uninspired and really just treading water, it seemed like, musically anyway. So he released this, like, no single, no really announcement, not to my recollection anyway. And yeah, it just blew me away. Really, really blew me away. It's almost like a comeback story for him in a way, where I almost had tears in my eyes. I was so happy he could make good music again.
Right, yeah. It's great when an artist sort of has a rebound when they release like a subpar album, or like Oasis, who disappear up their own asses, to come back out and sort of be fighting fit again, and release a song like this. Like, this is stellar. Like, it's stellar work.
And, what also makes me happy is this album was, like, really well received by his fan base, hip-hop circles, even indie rock circles. Like, this is a pretty well received album. So that also makes me happy that people are appreciating this experimentation for him and his willingness to try new things, that is being well received. I do like that a lot.
Oh, that's really amazing. Now, have you ever had a chance to see him live or anything?
Yeah, so I actually have. When I went to Rolling Loud last year, which is this big hip-hop festival, it had its first year in Toronto last year, and Lil Yachty was there. So I did get to see him, and honestly, he was also really, really good there. I didn't know what to expect from his live performance, and he wasn't even really on my radar to like make sure I saw at the festival, but it just so happened that there was, free time in between other sets I wanted to see. So I went to go check out Lil Yachty, and yeah, he was actually killing it. He was really fantastic. Played one of my favorite songs by him. I never thought I'd hear him play. So yeah, he was good. He's really good. Now,
was he playing stuff like this, or was he playing more like his old sound?
Definitely his old sound. This album hadn't come out yet, and like I said, this sound came out of the blue, so he didn't really have anything like this released before.
Great. Like I said, I loved it. It was so lush. It just had these really lush landscapes, and I love sometimes the vocal manipulations, I can take it or leave it, but I really loved, because it was so psychedelic, I really loved the vocal manipulations that were happening on the song.
Yeah, agreed. I'm glad you like it. And also shout out to the album art. I think it's cool too.
Yeah. If you haven't seen, to the listeners out there, if you haven't seen the album art, check it out. It's pretty amazing. And the little bit of Bob Ross at the end was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. No, thanks for bringing that to my attention. I really dug it.
No problem. And Darren, what did you think of "We Saw the Sun" by Lil Yachty?
Yeah, I didn't mind it.
All right, thank you, Darren.
What song do you have for me for next week?
Next week, I'm going to get you to listen to the song "Tell Me" by James Blake from his most recent album.
Cool.
I think it's a good one. Yeah. Excited to talk about it.
Cool. And we're going to stick to 1990 because I think 1990 is a very unheralded year of English music. So we're going to listen to the Soup Dragons, "I'm Free." Now, we listened to the Soup Dragons a while ago. Do you remember the whip guitar? It was a really cool song.
Yeah.
So
I do remember the Soup Dragons.
Yeah, so we're going to listen to another song from the Soup Dragons, their biggest hit, called "I'm Free." The other song we listened to is "No More Understanding," and now we're going to listen to "I'm Free" next week.
Okay, awesome. I'm looking forward. Let's do it.
Yeah. All right. Now we're going to get into a little bit of this week in music history. Now, this one's kind of interesting. We're both really big Radiohead fans.
We are.
And it was on this day in 1992 that "Creep" by Radiohead was released, their first single.
Oh, no way. The infamous Creep.
Yeah. There, at that time, there was this Generation X has this self-loathing, self-hatred streak to it. Like, at this time there was "Creep," there was "I'm a Loser" by Beck. Nirvana came out with, "Smells Like Teen Spirit," which is all about angst and hating yourself. So yeah, Generation X has definitely hates itself. So let's listen to a little bit of "Creep" by Radiohead.
I wish I was special, but I'm a creep.
Yeah, I can honestly say when that song came out, I'd not heard anything like it, and I became a huge Radiohead fan as soon as I heard that song.
Yeah, it's at the time I think it was pretty groundbreaking, right? It was fresh and everything, but yeah, you guys had some problems. You were going through it back then.
Yeah, we did not like it. We did not like ourselves. Generation X, maybe we do now. I don't know. I think we still have issues to this day.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, have fun at your concert tonight. I hope it's a fun show.
Yes, thank you. I'll have a concert review for the pod next week, so that'll be good. And yeah.
I'm going to give an update on the possum that we had last week because a few people have reached out and messaged me to see how the possum's going. So the RSPCA weren't going to show up for hours. They have like an after hours sort of animal emergency sort of thing, and they weren't going to be here for hours. So we actually caught the little possum, and we, when I say we, it was pretty much Angie. Took it away from its mother, and we put it in. We used to have a cat. And we have a little cat carrying thing, so we heated some towels and put some heated towels in the thing in the possum there, and we brought it to a 24-hour vet service, and they took it from us, and we haven't heard anything back. But they took our phone number, and what's going to happen if the possum can be released back into the wild? They're going to come back to our property and release it here because they try to release the possum back to where they found it. So hopefully he's doing okay.
Yeah, hopefully. Shout out to a little possum.
Yeah, little Joey. Hopefully little Joey will be back here soon, and I can feed him some bananas again.
Yes.
Cool. All right, let's get to our independent artist, and we're going to listen to someone we've heard a few times before, Isabel Wood, and we really love Isabel Wood's music, and that's why we keep playing it. So we're going to listen to her new single, "Risky," which is a beautiful pop song. I listened to it a little bit earlier today, and I dig it so much. It's such a lovely little pop song, and thank you, Isabel, for letting us play your song again. So here's "Risky," and we'll talk to you next week.
Convince me that we're not
You've been listening to Just Hit Play. To contact your hosts, Peter and Nick, or to be featured on an episode as musical talent, email justhitplay7300@gmail.com. Keep up to date with news and announcements by following on Instagram and Facebook, linked in the show notes. Subscribe on your favourite podcatcher to tune in next week for more sonic delights. And if you can't wait till then, check out the Just Hit playlist on Spotify, linked in the show notes. A special thanks to Braden Munch for the theme song, and thank you for listening.